Hello, how y'all doing? I'm Lance, student ministries pastor at Epicos Church, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So, we have been in the book of Proverbs in our Now and Later series. But first, I want to start with a couple of questions. And I'm going to ask you about a very famous person that you may or may not know. Who likes Taylor Swift? Who doesn't like her? How many of you used to like her? How many of you think that you'll like Taylor Swift from 5 to 10 years from now? Reputation is an interesting word. It basically means what people generally think about you, or the impact you leave on people. And that's what we're going to be going through and talking about today. I just wanted to see, are you all still with Taylor Swift? Because I wanted to start uh, off with reading a few of her lyrics. Can I do that? Is that okay? I guess you don't have a choice. Back in 2017, she released a song with artist Future called Endgame. And here are a few lyrics from the Endgame chorus, and I quote: "Big reputation, big reputation. You and me would be a big conversation. And I heard about you. You like the bad ones too." So it's basically about two people getting together in a relationship and how it would be subject of a lot of gossip because both people have really big reputations. We're talking about how we use wisdom in certain areas of our life and how it's going to impact the now and the later. And having a good reputation definitely fits into that category. When it comes to your world, isn't it true that there are some people who are more popular because of their bad reputation? And on the flip side, it's also true that some people are not looked at as cool because of their good reputation, right? Think about the people that are called teacher's pet or goody two shoes. And I don't know where that phrase came from. I don't see the problem with having two good shoes, but I could imagine that a lot of people who are called that don't get any cool points or anything like that. It can be difficult to control what people think about you. It can be really frustrating when somebody else makes a decision about your reputation for you. But for a lot of people, if we're honest, your reputation really hasn't even crossed your mind. And that's okay. I know it really crossed my mind when I was in high school. Besides, aren't we supposed to not get caught up in what people think of us, and maybe it might feel fake, or that we're wasting our time on image management. And for others, you manage a different reputation than with adults than with your friends. Maybe you're looked at as the good kid with adults, but with your friends, you're the outgoing, partying, let loose kind of friend, right? Look, it's tricky all around, but no matter what you think about reputations, it's tricky all around. But no matter what you think about reputations, I think what we're going to talk about here today is going to allow you to see how you should view reputations and everyone else's a bit more clearly. One of the books where we see a lot of wisdom is in a book of Proverbs. And like we talked about last week, Proverbs is an ancient text that has a lot of wisdom that can still apply to our now as well as our later. And so, with that in mind, I want to dig into scripture. We're going to get into Proverbs 22, verse 1. A good name is more desirable than riches. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold. A good name is equal to a good reputation. And to be esteemed is to be equal to being respected. And according to this passage, it's a bigger deal than getting any sort of cash prizes, gold, silver, anything like that. Here's what I seem to be true about reputation. Reputation doesn't really matter to us until we wish that we've had a better one. I want to share a quick story. When I was in elementary, we had this thing called accelerated reading. And some of you might be familiar with it, some of you may not. It's typically when you read a book and you're tested on your knowledge of what's inside the book. And then our school was pretty big deal. You get prizes, you'd be part of pizza parties and all those sorts of things. And it was a big deal to me. I cared about how the teachers viewed me. They viewed me as the smart kid. But I noticed that my friends and people around me were reading books bigger than me. And so I was like, what? Ah, man, they're getting more points. They're getting more acclaim. And so in the attempts to try to rack up a lot of points so I could get prizes and notoriety for reading, I just took a test on this book, Three Musketeers. You might know it. And of course, I bombed it because I didn't read it. I didn't know anything about it or the context of the book. And so much so that I had a teacher follow up and say, "Hey, what happened with this book? It doesn't make sense. You took this test, but you didn't get almost any of the answers right." And I came clean about not reading the book, and it hurt my reputation. It hurt how people viewed me for a period of time. And oddly enough, the book, The Three Musketeers, is a book that I love to this day. What would a bad reputation stop you from doing? What opportunities would it keep you from pursuing? A bad reputation is like a locked gate to your future. In some cases, it would stop you and prevent you from going through that gate. Sometimes opportunities open and they close because of your actual abilities. That is true. But also, in other times, opportunities open and close because of how people think of you and what you're known for. Love it or hate it, our now is always going to be connected to our later. That can't be helped. And on the flip side, a good reputation is connected to good opportunities in the future. And your reputation now can open doors for you later. But what can we actually do about our reputation? If it seems like something we can't control, what can we control? We can't control what we're known for. If you could be known for 2 or 3 things, what would they be? You don't have to know the answer right now. It's worth taking some time and thinking about. And while you're thinking, take your peers into consideration. Take your friends, take your neighbors, take the adults in your life into consideration. Teachers, parents, any of those sorts of people. Is it possible to be the same person in both groups and get the same result? Now, maybe you're thinking, this would have been good to hear 2 years ago, Lance, but I've already done some pretty bad stuff. And first, I just want to say I'm sorry. Figuring out that you have a bad reputation, it can be pretty painful. But I want you to know that it's not permanent. You can still control what you're known for. And just like decisions over time may have earned you a bad reputation or a negative one, different decisions over time can make you known for something else. It won't happen overnight, and I'm not going to promise you that it's going to happen overnight. But taking control of your reputation is possible over time. If you're sitting there thinking, why should I care about what people think about me? Or my high school people think about me, that's going to be in the past pretty soon. And they're going to be long gone. It's going to be out of my mind. And I get it, and that's true. But a good reputation and a good name is about more than just high school and life after high school. It's about the kind of person you are. It's about who you choose to be. So when you think about what you want to be known for, don't just think about the now. Think about the later too. Take your future seriously. Friends, they come and they go. And again, high school might be a distant memory soon, but it won't change the fact that having a good name is going to get you way further than money, riches, popularity, or anything else. Know this. The book of Proverbs that we're looking at is a series in a book of wisdom. It's not about promises, right? I'm not going to sit here and say that when you do this, this will automatically happen. When it talks about the importance of a good reputation, it's not a promise that everybody with a good reputation is always going to get what they want and everything is going to go into your favor. That's just not a possibility. It's also not a promise that people with bad reputations were never going to get good opportunities in their life. Also, think about how your reputation affects your witness. If you're a Christian, for some people, you are the closest thing that they can see as Jesus or as God or to the Bible. Now, you aren't, but think about how your character and your reputation can either help or hurt leading someone to Christ, to redemption, to be able to receive salvation. So remember, a good reputation is good for you now and it's good for you later. Have a good one.